Violations of the Welfare Act kills 3.2 million of the innocent animals each year, and these animals die abhorrently. They get burned, shocked, poisoned, isolated, forcibly restrained, and addicted to drugs. And that's not all. They even get decapitated and get fed through their esophagus. Most people just tend to not understand the crucifixion of animals. Today I'm going to talk about animal experimentation.
Today, lots of scientists do research with animals. Should animals be used in research? I think animals need to be used for research. Animal research has saved lots of humans' lives by testing vaccines and life-saving prescription drugs.
Every major medical advance is attributable to experiments on animals. This is simply not true. A document paper was published by the Journal of Royal Society of Medicines has evaluated this claim and concluded that it was not supported by any evidence. Most animal experiments are driven by curiosity and do not tend to hold the promise for curing illnesses.
Animal research is possible because animals are very similar to humans. Humans share 95% with animals to make an effective model for research. Also, animals and humans have the same organ system to perform their task. Animals and humans suffer from similar diseases like cancer, tuberculosis, flu, and asthma.
Researchers from the Yale University School of Medicine and several British universities published a paper in the British Medical Journal titled, "Where is the evidence that animal research benefits humans?" All of the animal researchers systematically examined animal studies and concluded that there's only a little evidence that exists to support the idea that animal testing has benefited humans.
Researchers do not want to hurt animals. It's their job to research on them. They don't hate animals or want to hurt them. Only can begin on experiments if we have a very clear scientific reason for researching on animals.
Many of the most important advances in health are attributable to human studies, including the discovery of the relationships between the cholesterol and heart disease, smoking, cancer, and the development of X-rays and the isolation of the AIDS virus.
Animal research must be done with care and respect. Researchers worked to carry out animal testing with extreme care.
If we didn't use animals, we'd have to test new drugs on humans. In fact, that is what we are already doing, to test new drugs on humans. No matter how many animal testings are undertaken, someone will always be the first human to be tested on, because animal tests are so unreliable. They make these human trials more risky.
There are many incurable diseases like Alzheimer's, multiple sclerosis, and schizophrenia that shatters life. If we want hope of treating these medical conditions, we need medical research to develop drugs. For everyone's benefit, we must use animals.
The Food and Drug Administration, FDA, has noted that 92% of all drugs are shown to be safe and effective in animal tests, but fails to do the same on humans. A small percentage were approved for human use. Half were unreliable because of the side effects that were not identified in animal tests.
Tens of thousands of people are used in human research every year. Not only animals are being sacrificed. People die from unsuccessful drugs too. If animals are having drugs tested on them, this reduces human fatalities.
Science has a responsibility to use animals to keep looking for cures for the horrible diseases that people suffer from. Every year in the United States, animal experimentation gobbles up billions of dollars, including 40% of all research funding from U.S. National Institutes of Health, and more than $1 trillion are spent for healthcare. And this is basic. Oh, sorry. Yeah.
The UK implemented an ethical framework when it comes to animal research. The Animal Act of 1986 ensures that all research using animals must be fully assessed to determine any harm to animals.
Many experiments are not painful to use of animals and are illegally justified. This only U.S. law that governs the use of animals in laboratories, the Animal Welfare Act allows animals to be burned, restrained, addicted to drugs, and given brain damage. No experiment, no matter how painful or trivial, is prohibited, and painkillers are not required to be used. Often they aren't. Because of the act excludes mice, birds, and cold-blooded animals, more than 95% of the animals used in laboratories are not subjected to minimal protections provided by the federal laws. Because they are not protected by laws, experimenters don't provide mice, rats with pain relievers.
The research on animals has created successful. Modern surgical techniques such as hip replacement, kidney transplants, heart transplants, and blood transfusion were all perfected on animals.
And this is basically the reasons why animals are a bad subject for scientific experimentation. Thank you.
Animal studies are important for medical research, and their research has been successful. The hip replacement and heart transplants have benefited human lives by expanding lifespans and improving their quality of life. Scientists are not hurting animals for their amusement, but are finding cures for disease and impact our families and friends. Thank you for listening our debates.